Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reptile Room. Today, we're talking about all my pet turtles. Yeah guys, so we have a couple of turtles in the room. And the first off I want to start with is our little Reeves turtle here, and some information on the Reeves turtle. So ours lives in with our basilisks here. Now they do live on different sides of the planet, but they like the same sorts of things. You know, that's what you want to... He is just trying to escape. They share similar temperatures and whatnot, and that's kind of what you're looking for if you're trying to cohabit. The Reeves turtle is a Chinese pond turtle, and they're very, very common. They're one of the most common pet turtles that there was for a very long time. In fact, I grew up with one. Now that I have had this one in a totally different type of enclosure with like space to roam around, it's really different to see how they react to their environment. So that's one thing that we're gonna get into with the Reeves turtle. So the Reeves turtles do like water, and they are a pond turtle, but they really like to bask, and they like to get out, they like to climb around, and I actually catch ours doing this quite frequently. He'll go running around the enclosure with the basilisk, maybe even chase them around. It's pretty entertaining. The males and females, there's no sexual dimorphism, right? So you can't really tell them apart from color, but you can kind of tell them if you look on the plastron, which is the bottom plate of the animal. So this plastron here is slightly concave, so it slightly goes in this motion instead of convex, and that most likely means it's a male. I'm pretty confident this is a male because its tail is very long, and that's the other thing that you want to look for if you're trying to sex out your turtle. So like I said, the males stay smaller, up to about 6 inches, and females can get up to 9 inches, which is pretty cool. In fact, most males, as they get older and older, will turn darker and darker and darker. You know, as you've seen, they don't have a whole lot of color, but they have the yellow stripes down their neck and the personality. It's all about the personality. In my opinion, I really, really like it. As far as food, I can feed him off tongs. I feed him mealworms, superworms. He's eaten dubias. I'm sure he's chased other stuff down in the enclosure, just like the basilisks have done. He's eaten some fish, the guppies that are in there. I also give him the pellets. You know, a normal turtle pellet diet. But I'm gonna start experimenting with those diets a little bit more. I'm gonna see if I can't push the limit and really find out if we can find some other good feeders. They aren't the strongest swimmers like the one we're gonna see over here behind me in just a minute, which actually he's hiding right there. And maybe you guys saw them go in there. It's really cool how they get down in there. But anyway, back to the Chinese pond turtle. They have a really good bite to them, so, you know, try not to get bitten. And they do like basking, so you have to have the basking lights, you have to have heat, you've got to keep it, you know, in the 80s. Nothing crazy. It's more like moderate temperatures here in the US would actually be pretty similar for these species. Potentially you could even keep them outside. You know, a little bit more research would need to be done, and the easiest way I've found of doing that sort of research, if you're trying to put an animal outside like I did with Ronnie earlier this year, go back and watch that video, that whole series. Google the area, read about the country, read about the range that they're in, look at the climate history. All these are things that you can find with a little bit of Googling, some Wikipedia, and even just going to the country's website and finding that information. They're pretty good about it. So that's what I would do. That's what I've done to really figure out what is a good time of year to keep them outside. Just food for thought. want to move on to our newest addition over here. And that is our not spiny tail, that is our Spiny Soft Shelled Turtle. These guys are from the United States. I want to start off with that. They're very cool. They pretty much cover the whole eastern half of the United States, from the north to the south. They live in the rivers, they live in ponds, they live in lakes. So hopefully, you know, we go down to Tennessee and our favorite lake, and we go down there. You've seen that camping video and whatnot. Go check that out too. We're gonna have to see if we can't see one in the wild, like an adult one. So these get much larger. In fact, a female can be 7 to 19 inches. And I kind of hope for a female of this species. And since it is from here, I could potentially dig a larger pond. Greg Whitstock, hit me up, and put this little guy out there too. That would be really interesting. They eat everything that they can find. Anything that they can fit in their mouth is what they're gonna eat. You'll see that I have some guppies in here as well. It's gonna eat them. And you know, that's a good live food source. You know, they're gut-loaded guppies as well. And I have pretty much a never-ending supply of guppies for the basilisks and any turtles. I also give the pellets to him, to him, her, whatever. I'm really not sure. You can see it's really, oh man. You want to talk about personality, guys. These are so fun. Oh, he's trying to take little bites. Oh. Yeah, it's just super cool. Anytime I come in here, it swims right up, and you see this one's a little tiny guy. So it's only gonna get better with age, I hope. Now, one of the cool things about the soft shells is that this is like a freshwater sea turtle. You know, you've seen the fly river turtles. Well, this is North America's version, and they have the same little type of like pig nose, and he uses that to poke around in the sand trying to find food, which could either be dead fish that has fallen out from a lake or whatever, or even in here, if that happens. The food source, which is like the pellets, when they sink down, he's just kind of digging in there. The other interesting thing is their feet are all webbed. You see their feet are just webbed, and they are powerhouses. They'll fly through the water. Very, very, very cool. Now, this will never be a planted tank. In fact, all of my enclosures now with live plants are pretty much dead plants because these animals are rough on them. No live plants are gonna be in here. He's back here digging along the back. No live plants are ever gonna go in here because he digs around the bottom. You know, that's what they do. That's how they forage, and that's their defense mechanism, digging underneath the sand, and they poke their little head up and they just kind of look around. Another fun fact about the Spiny Soft Shelled Turtle here is that it can breathe underwater. It does not have to surface, although, you know, it makes it much easier, and that's the little snorkel nose. You know, they'll sit on the bottom and bury in and stick their little nose out and take a good breath. Now, the other way they breathe is actually through their butts. Actually, it's through their butt, their throat, and their skin. They have a really interesting layer. They can breathe underwater using their pharyngeal lining, their cloacal lining, and their skin. It just kind of absorbs it. And you can see them there taking some breaths underwater. They can live about 50 years in the wild. This one's gonna be around with us for quite a long time. Actually, most of these animals are gonna be with us for quite a long time. Now, some things to consider. Even though these animals are not considered endangered in the wild, they are still facing some hardships like pollution, because human beings are terrible in environments. I mean, in the Marianas Trench, they found cans, beer cans, all the way in the bottom. It's the deepest place on the planet. We litter it. It's what we do. Try not to do that. You know, let's really make a stand. Let's really try to hold firm and clean up after ourselves, clean up after others. It's easy to do. That is a thing, and also chemical pollution. Don't dump out stuff that goes down the drain that you know is bad for the environment, you know, chemicals, oil, all that stuff. Come on, guys, let's just get with it here. That's just how it is. If we want to see these guys in the wild, we gotta make sure the wild is still there. Please just go ahead and click subscribe. It really helps me out, helps get the videos out more. But yeah, stay tuned for the Halloween special. I got something special in mind for you guys. See you next week.